Hi, this is Arun from arunsyoga.in. I'm a software engineer who mostly work with Node.js, PHP, and other backend technologies. And I'm an open source contributor as well. I'm a tantric by birth in a family which is passing tantric wisdom from generations to generations, from past 2000 years of legacy, and got lucky to travel across India and got chances to study under various gurus from different backgrounds and disciplines. You could connect with me in arunsyoga.in. Here I'm helping you to design a divine lifestyle which is based on Vedic astrology, tantra, and other yogic system of understanding. Hi, today we have a guest. Her name is Archana. She is working to awoke the feminine soul energy, and that could be transcended into different sectors which I would like to say. Maybe it could be in business, in your relationship, or whatsoever. So she will be speaking more about that. So Archana, what you do? Like,
Namaste, beloveds. This is Archana of Feminine Soul Awakening and Soul and Spirit Alchemy. So I lead spiritual retreats and workshops all over the world. Most of my retreats are for women, 90% of them, but 10% are for mixed. And in the future, I'm moving more towards bringing men and women together in my retreats to learn about divine feminine and divine masculine energies. And the whole journey for me of spiritual awakening, some people call it enlightenment. And I love that Jeff Brown, one of my favorite writers and authors, called it enrealment, meaning it is the journey of becoming real. And Teal Swan calls it the journey of becoming authentic, meaning you are becoming completely, fully, authentically your real self. And the great philosopher Nietzsche, he said, become who thou art. Why did he say become who thou art? You'll wonder, am I not who I am? Ask yourself, are you truly who you are? Or are you 90 or 99% what your culture, what the world has programmed you to be? So in this programming, very often, because we are living in a patriarchal world, patriarchy means, I can say that the shadow qualities of masculine and sometimes even the shadow qualities of feminine can come into it, that are very controlling, dictatorial, and they don't allow you to be your liberated, free, authentic self. So it is a very deep programming that all of us go through, not just women. Patriarchy does not hurt only women. It hurts women, it hurts men, it hurts children. Why? Because it has created a world where you cannot be your authentic self, where there is going to be excessive control, where there is going to be judgments of all your feminine aspects. Your emotions will be judged and there will not be much space for your emotions. Your body will be judged. There is not so much space for embodied awakening, listening to your body. In patriarchy, you have the opportunity to push your body, right? You go to your job, they say, push, push, push. They go home, push, push, push. It's always pushing, pushing. Masculine, feminine, pulling back into your softness. Masculine, daytime, sunshine. Feminine, nighttime, surrender, relax, become soft, go into your beingness. And we are all obsessed with doingness. So what the world really needs right now, in order to bring back that balance between the masculine and feminine, is very important. If one side is very heavy, the scale, the weighing scale, if one side's very heavy, the whole world goes into imbalance, and that imbalance creates chaos, right? What if I told you you can only inhale, but you cannot exhale? Try it. Okay, Arun, let's try it. Okay, just inhale, take a deep in breath. Now don't exhale, inhale again. Don't exhale, inhale some more. Don't exhale, inhale some more, inhale some more, inhale some more. What will happen? You will die. You will die. If we don't allow that which needs to die, then we will die. That breath that I've taken in, that given life to, that breath needs to die so that more life can come in. Life, death, life, death, right? Mm-hmm. So that inhalation is our masculine essence, that exhalation is our feminine essence. So think about it this way. If that inhalation is about doing, masculine, doing. So I'm going to go out in the world in the daytime and do my purpose and do my work and be successful some more and be more and more and more successful. What happens? You go through a burnout and then you are bedridden. You're in the hospital. Where are you to go out and succeed? What happened? Why are you not succeeding? Why are you in the hospital? Why are you on a leave? Why did you have a heart attack and die? Why so many people who are in IT jobs in places like Bangalore die so young? There is no space for beingness. Doing, being. Inhaling, exhaling. Masculine, feminine. So what is the feminine essence? Once again, is our inhalation. It is our emotions. It's our body. If masculine is the mind, the feminine is the body. Rather than mind, I will probably say logical side, because mind can mean so many different things. If feminine is the soul and the downward journey, masculine is the rising up, the spirit, soul, spirit, feminine, masculine. If feminine is the intuition, listen to your intuition. Very often we are told, but we don't know how to listen to our intuition because our culture has programmed us to be over-logical. And then what happens? Sometimes we lose that primary instinct that animals even have. Animals know instinctively. A lioness knows how to protect her little cub, how to take care of her cub. But some psychologists, psychiatrists, many years ago, they told the parents, you should not hold your baby when it is crying. It will make it independent. That was a BS theory, but it was super intellectual coming from great educated PhD people. So what did they do? They started doing that. They actually started to ignore their baby when it was crying. But we know instinctively, my instinct is making me cry that I cannot hold my baby when it is crying, because instinctively I know that is what I must do. So we must bring back the balance in the world between masculine and feminine. And believe me, if you use your intuition, it will serve you so much. Even if you're in the corporate world, it is going to serve you a lot with your success. Feminine is also our right brain, right? Correct, Arun? Right brain. Yeah. The left side of the body, the right brain, is considered to be the feminine. And right brain is the one that comes up with all these, creative ideas. And how can you be successful at your job in the corporate world or being an entrepreneur without your creative side? So my primary teaching is about bringing back the balance between the masculine and the feminine, and bringing the sacred union of shadow and light, yin and yang. And I feel this is one of the greatest secrets to success.
See, if we see the social media or TV or whatsoever, most of the people, they are like personal trainers. They say we have to get succeeded. Like from the young age, we've been trained like we have to get first class in school, first rank in college, and things like that. So we trained in a way of the rat race. So if we see the end of this particular game, it is of course like the end game is everybody knows where are we going to end. Like we all going to die, right? So there is no escape from that. Like that is the end. So and this is basically is the masculine side of the energy, that as you are saying, like this is create a lot of problems in the world. We can know that like now the third world war is going to start and things like that is going on the world. Like it's because mostly because the masculine side, like it's all race. We have to win, and where just kill each other. That's what we are all trying to do. And in this particular small planet, we are all like killing each other. So when you bring the feminine side to the existence, of course it's going to be turn out as the creative side of life. So how do you do that? Like how do you bring the feminine aspect to, for example, if someone some men is attending your workshop, So how do you bring that particular um, feminine aspect and teach that particular person um, why it is so necessary, or why the word success itself is misunderstood in some other way? Like success is in a race, so we misunderstood this particular word in the way we have to win always, and win where and what. So how do you teach that? What kind of things you bring in your workshop, and how do they benefit out of this?
That's a beautiful question, and thanks a lot for that question. I am going to share my personal story to help you understand what I do in my workshops. So at a very young age of 19, I suddenly had a complete total breakdown in my life. My body broke down, my heart, psychologically, I was broken. Suddenly, I suffered from depression, anxiety, insomnia, chronic pain, chronic fatigue, and all those things. Whatever life I knew suddenly fell apart. There was pure chaos. Okay. Now, I believe truly that when our souls are born, before our souls are born, they know the purpose that we are born for. They know the intention. So my soul's purpose might have been to go on the spiritual journey. So when everything was falling apart and nobody could understand what was going on with me, not a single doctor in India could give me some answer about what was going on in my life, I took the spiritual route. I started going for Buddhist Vipassana meditation. My body screamed 100 times louder over there. It was hurting so much more. And I thought, I'm going on the spiritual path. I'm supposed to be feeling better. Why am I feeling worse? 100 times, 1,000 times worse. The pain increased so much. I was awake every second, 10 nights. Then I was like, okay, maybe I need something that is really incorporating the body and the movement, because my body is screaming. So I went for a 6 months yoga teacher training course. And there, believe it or not, my body started screaming even more. Now, there's nothing wrong with yoga. There's nothing wrong with the technique of Vipassana meditation. But this meditation did not honor the emotions, did not honor the body, the feminine. And in the yoga ashram, I felt like I was in the military for 6 months. It was all about push, 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 push. There was no space, at least in this particular center. There might be other centers which might be honoring, the feminine side more. But here in the words, they said yoga is the union of masculine and feminine. But everything they taught, 99.99% was mostly masculine. It was all about push, 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 discipline, discipline, discipline. No place for compassion, no place for love, no place for kindness, no place for listening to the body. There was a lot of space for pushing the body, but there was no space for listening to the body. So my search continued, and then I ended up studying expressive arts therapy in San Francisco. In India, I studied masters in philosophy, and in America, I studied expressive arts therapy. It is psychotherapy through creative art forms like dance therapy, drama therapy, storytelling and therapy, poetry and therapy, music therapy, and art therapy. We do mandala art therapy. So this is where I realized, wow, this was the missing piece. And in psychology, I studied about shadow work. Shadow work? How can there be space for shadow in spirituality, which is about enlightenment? Spirituality is supposed to be all about light, light, light. When do the stars shine the brightest? When do their light shine the brightest? Arun, can you tell me? You are sitting in front of the stars. Do you know why they are looking so bright? Because the sky is dark. On the darkest night, the stars look the brightest. And so I realized why I was taken into such chaotic darkness when my soul's intention and purpose was to come into the light, was to help people find the light. I was taken down into the dark. Whenever you say, I I want to find the light of Krishna and consciousness, Goddess Kali hears you and she says, ah, you called me, I'm coming. She comes and grabs you very lovingly and she takes you down. She takes you down into the dark, into the deep, deep dark. Very often you suffer. All of us go through suffering. There is something or the other. Everybody has experienced some or the other kind of trauma and tragedy in their lives. What happens? It ripens your soul. So she's taking you down, and downward journey, I said in the beginning, was the journey into the soul. It is the journey into the feminine waters so that you can be prepared to rise. You know, how does Kundalini energy move? It goes upward, right? But first you have to go down to the first chakra in order to rise to the seventh chakra. So I found one of the missing pieces in all the spirituality that I experienced when I was in India was the shadow work. That was one piece. And then, thank you, Goddess, I found feminine spiritual path. I attended a very short retreat, but there was a click that happened in my heart and soul. Suddenly, I found the missing piece. I was like, wow. I had found a lot of spirituality in India, but it was the masculine piece and it was missing the feminine piece. And then what I did in my spiritual work is I brought the feminine and the masculine together, the shadow and the light integration. So what I do in my workshops, to answer your question now directly, more directly, is that I help people bring together the shadow and light, bring together their masculine and feminine so that they can find their wholeness. Otherwise, we are trying to run around the world with 50% truth. And have you heard the saying that half truth is much more dangerous than not knowing any truth at all? So I help people feel their emotions rather than run with their emotions. If you want to heal it, you must feel it. We are programmed in our culture to judge jealousy, to judge anger, to judge sadness, all the dark emotions. But what will happen if you enter the dark emotions? You cannot transcend. Everybody talks about transcendence. Our masculine side is transcendence. Yeah. And our feminine side says, feel it if you want to heal it. So if you want to transcend, you cannot go surpass. Whenever you surpass, if I surpass these dark emotions, if I surpass aspects of myself that I don't like, that I feel that the culture will not right, and I will hide them under the carpet, what will happen? What happens when a child is ignored, when a child is crying and you ignore the child is going to scream louder and cry more, right? So if you ignore your dark side, it is going to jump on the driving seat, you know, and start controlling the wheel of the car and will start driving the car of your life. And you don't want that. You want your light side, your empowered self, your soul to sit on the driver's seat, right? And the dark emotions to sit on the back seat, like well-behaved children. So it's very important. So in my workshop, they will feel it in order to heal it. They will feel it in order to transcend it. If you transcend it without really facing it or feeling it, then what you will be doing is spiritual bypassing instead of practicing spirituality. And most people in the world are practicing spiritual bypassing. There is a great book called Spiritual Bypassing. And there is also a wonderful article, 3-page article written by Jeff Brown about spiritual bypassing. And I highly encourage each and every human being that wants to see big transformation in their life. If you want to be on the spiritual path, if you want to be on the path to success, and if you're constantly meeting impediments after impediments, challenges after challenges, and you feel like I'm doing everything right, why am I constantly blocking my own self? Why am I sabotaging my own self from success? Why are all my unhealthy, toxic patterns not transforming, even though I'm doing yoga, even though I'm doing this coaching, even though I'm doing everything. The patterns are coming from your shadow side. So if you want the patterns to be transformed in order to support you, in order to support your success, then you must do shadow work, right? So bringing that union of yin and yang, I do it through dance therapy. So we have a lot of fun in my workshops, by the way. People are learning, they are transforming, they are meeting their true, authentic self, they are coming into their wholeness, but through too much fun. And then, of course, sometimes there are tears and there is anger, but it is all bringing people into their true, authentic self. Once you have let it out, whatever is stuck inside you, very often are emotions, which are not allowed in the world. They will get stuck in different parts of the body. You might end up getting breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and stomach cancer, throat cancer. If you don't speak your truth for too long, then your throat becomes sick and sicker and sicker and sicker. If you keep all your emotions stuck in your stomach, stomach is one of the, like, third chakra is one of the places where we keep our emotions and we get sicker. And this is also our power center. Now, if I want to succeed in the world, I have to activate my power center, right? And if I'm keeping things, everything repressed, shut down in there, then I will also be repressing my power. I remember the first time I went to this event in San Francisco in America called Five Rhythms. It is called Five Rhythms. It's a dance gathering, where people dance just for the sake of dancing. There is no alcohol, no smoking, nothing of that sort. It's just pure dancing space. And you are supposed, it's called Five Rhythms because you are supposed to dance all your 5 emotions. They call it the 5 different flows. So here, this is a space which is completely non-judgmental. And so are my workshops. In my workshops, I don't tell people, oh, keep your trauma outside, keep your, anger outside, keep your sadness outside. I tell them, bring it all inside. Bring all of your whole, complete self inside, and let's play with them. In drama therapy, we do so much playfulness and creativity, express. And what happens is very often in drama therapy, people start going into their right brain. And then wherever they were stuck in life, oh my goodness, I can only see this much truth and I'm doomed. And then suddenly these are removed. This horse is wearing this, it knows it has to move only in one direction. Suddenly, through their right brain activation, through all these creative processes and shadow work and everything, they open up. When they feel their emotions, they come to life. They heal their stresses. There is so much stress people are carrying. And then we do a lot of breath work. So besides dance therapy, drama therapy, storytelling and therapy, mandala art therapy, we also do a lot of breath work. So in this Five Rhythms gathering, when I heard this wild tribal music, it suddenly brought me in touch with my anger. And I was not comfortable with my anger. I am an Indian woman. We are programmed to be Miss Nice. And all the childhood traumas, all the things that had happened, anger was suppressed inside. Anger wants to come up, I push it down. It's not good to get angry. Anger comes up, it's not good to get angry because anger can cause violence. Anger wants to come up, I say transmute it into sadness. It's okay for a woman to cry, but it's not okay for a woman to get angry. And here in Five Rhythms, I'm feeling my raw, wild anger and I'm dancing it. And there is no judgment. I become this wild animal like a lioness. And suddenly I feel more presence in my feet. I feel like I'm more present in my body. I feel as if I've become a little bit more whole. I don't know how to express it in words. I feel like there is more of me in me. And when I walked back home that day, I felt my power. That Miss Nice, who did not have the permission to say no to people, who did not feel the permission to have healthy boundaries so that people could take advantage of her, suddenly felt so much in her power. And that was a very important piece for me to become a spiritual facilitator today. It sounds strange, so very strange. I went through Vipassana, I went through, so many Buddhist practices. I went through yoga teacher training course. They were all amazing practices. Those practices were beautiful, but they did not bring me so much in my power. But the day I got in touch with my anger, I aligned with my center and with my truth. And it happened again and again and again. And that is why that is when I realized why Goddess Kali, even though she looks so angry, so fierce, she's considered to be the most compassionate of all the goddesses. And you had mentioned that she's very peaceful. Yes, she is. I felt so at peace with being myself after I tapped into that part of myself, which I was rejecting since childhood. It was like hugging my own little child in me. That, come home. I'm not going to judge you anymore. I can understand why you are angry. Your boundaries were violated. You were abused. You were traumatized. I honor your anger. I honor who you are. And then that wounded child does not act out anymore. I'm more at peace with myself. I don't feel that storm inside me. I am more present. I'm here. I'm here. When I was young, I used to lose things all the time. I was not present because there were bits and pieces. There were parts of me that were scattered, and I was rejecting those parts. And I bring people on a journey where they stop rejecting all the different parts of themselves, accept each and every aspect of who you are. And when you go to that job of yours, when you go to that company of yours as an entrepreneur or whatever, maybe you are taking just 5% of who you are. What will happen if you took 100% of you over there? What if you were so authentic that you just could connect with everyone, heart to heart, soul to soul, looking straight into their eyes, fully present, but fully in your power? So breath work, along with the emotional work, why is breath work important? The same thing, breath work helps you come back into who you are. And of course, it is one of the most important practice, whether you do pranayam, holotropic breath work, Wim Hof breath work, Soma breath work. There are so many different kinds of breath work, rebirthing breath work, art of living breath work, so many of them. If you do any of these breath work practices, you will see a sudden shift. You will see that you are going from your sympathetic nervous system, which you are stuck in when you are in stress mode. I would say it is the doing mode, the excessive masculine. When the masculine, instead of being 50% and 50% feminine, becomes 99% masculine and only 1% feminine, what is going to happen? You don't have rest and relaxation and beingness in your life, right? So you need to come into your parasympathetic nervous system, from sympathetic into the parasympathetic nervous system. So I take people through some specific breathwork practices and some other psychosomatic practices with which they will come into their parasympathetic nervous system. So here they will be much more calm and peaceful. They will heal their nervous system. They will heal their health. And believe it or not, their productivity will hit the roofs. Why? Because when you are relaxed, you are in your center, you are in your power, you are clear, you are 100% present, and you can be more productive. I know this is a bit too much because, there is so much to share. I can speak about this thing for hours. This is my dharma, this is my devotion, and this is my whole life's journey now.
So, the people who has attended your workshop and they transcended into some other thing, what are they saying now? Like people who has came to your workshop, you might have many
okay
people.
So
share some stories of them, like Like,
Yes, for sure. One of my most important primary workshop was I was training the trainers. I train the trainers. Trainers meaning who want to lead their own retreats and workshops. Primarily, I train those people in all these modalities, creative arts, therapy. So primarily, I bring psychology, spirituality, and creative arts together, right? So this is what I train them into, but I take them through the journey of first, you are your own guinea pig. You have to first go through the practices yourself, experience them in your own body, heart, and soul, do your own cleansing and healing. Only then can you be a channel for other people's healing and empowerment. So, believe it or not, people who have been trained by me are ahead of me, meaning they go back to their own countries and they are leading more workshops than me. They are earning more money than me. And what better, you know, compliment can I receive for my work? That my students are going ahead of me and I'm cheering them. My students from Iran, my students from Europe, my students from America, from Canada, they are thriving. A lot of them, I have a lot of testimonial videos. Actually, I don't like to speak too much about myself, so I generally guide people to the testimonial videos. But most of them tell me that they have seen the biggest shift in their lives. One of the women that attended my workshop to become a trainer, before the training, she said, you know what? I am addicted to workshops. I'm going through yoga TTC after yoga TTC and this TTC and that TTC, but I'm not teaching. I am just frozen inside. There is something that I'm stuck inside. And she was psychologically full of shadows. She was, not in her power. Obviously, to stand in front of hundreds of thousands of people, you have to be in your power, right? So she was not in her power. She had not claimed her voice, her throat chakra. She was not expressing herself. So her creativity was frozen. Her feminine side was completely repressed. Her masculine side was totally unactivated. So I told her, just attend this retreat. And then I promise you, unless you want to really, really, from the bottom of your heart, you will not feel the need to attend another one, at least for a while. And that is exactly what happened. She attended my training and then bam, if you follow her Instagram right now, believe it or not, she is leading more workshops than me. She's charging more money than me. That's the biggest transformation. This is the biggest, most flattering compliment that I could get. One of the students told me, actually, that after attending your 2 weeks retreat, I felt as if I don't need to attend any other spiritual or self-growth retreat or workshop ever again. These were her words. She was a European woman and her testimonial is there with me on my page. So these are the kind of things some of them have said. Men. So I will share some of the things that some of the men said to me. I was teaching in a festival in Goa and many of the men came and told me, some Indian men as well as some European men. They came and told me that when I attended your session, it was Tantra Fest. And they came and told me, I was teaching about the masculine and feminine essence in this workshop because they wanted different varieties of workshops, not only Tantra workshops. So they invited me to teach about the masculine and feminine essence. And these people, they came and told me, we understood what is the meaning of Tantra from your workshop. Now I am teaching my workshop only about masculine, feminine polarity. And there were many other teachers who were teaching Tantra since maybe 20, 30, 40 years themselves, experienced teachers. They were teaching Tantra teachers. And I did not appear there as a Tantra teacher. I appeared there as a teacher of feminine, masculine polarity, Shiv essence, Shakti essence. And yet these people came and said that they understood the meaning of Tantra the most from my workshop. There was a very experienced French Tantra teacher. She came and told me the exact same thing. She said that you shared some things that I have never, ever seen in my life in any self-growth or spiritual workshop. And it was really very transcendental and very transpersonally shifting and very, very deep and soulful and powerful. So I'm just very blessed and grateful.
So in one of your workshop, how many people you could accommodate actually?
I have taught workshops to all numbers of people, from 10 to 100 to a few hundreds, all the numbers. When I was teaching in China, for instance, actually the workshop in China was very interesting. It was like a 1 month retreat, and we had to teach some, so it was parents and children had all come together. So we had some workshops only teaching the parents, and children were with some other teacher. And then I would be teaching the children and the parents with some other teachers. And then we would have some sessions where parents and students, parents and children were brought together. And sometimes some workshops where men were separated, women were separated. And the transformation was mind-blowing. And when I did this very deep feminine practice of healing the deep childhood wounds, of healing the mother and the father wounds, you know, the masculine and the feminine essence wounds, I had men, Chinese men, crying in the arms of each other, men and women mixed together. I had no words, really, really no words. Sometimes you don't need words. You see people's faces glowing with joy.
Mostly, I would like to pursue there. Like, you know, see, mostly in your workshops, like you could accommodate like 10 people, 20 people, or how many people?
Big numbers also.
Big numbers also.
10, 20, 100 people, no problem. In the Chinese retreat, I think there were, when children and parents were together, we had maybe around 200 people in the workshop. So I have taught small groups of 10 people, and I have taught big groups of 100, 200 people. I have taught emotional healing retreats. I have taught teacher training courses, and I've also taught how to be successful, you know, in your work, in your personal life, in your relationships. That's very important. In your relationship with yourself. So I've covered all these topics. Very important.
So if we are putting that particular workshop in you know, in a nutshell, like for example, let's say we need to conduct it for a company where the if we try to unite the feminine and the masculine aspect of every employee in a very particular organization, so what happens is that the total productivity of that entire organization will increase, because being in peaceful actually increases the total growth of the company or country or whatever. This is what I feel.
Exactly.
So let's say in that case, in that particular case, how do you proceed with that particular company?
People can have 2 days workshop. Generally, companies, they prefer 2 days weekend retreat. Some of them will also have like a few days retreat. Some of them will want to be in the, you know, in their workspace itself. And some of them will like to maybe be in a hotel or even go into the nature. I really like the idea of going into the nature, but only if possible. Sometimes it's not feasible. So we will be doing a lot of activities, just like I mentioned earlier. We will do some drama therapy practices, some breath work practices, some dance therapy practices, some mandala art therapy. But it'll all be to go deep into your psyche, to go deep into your psychology, and to bring transformation from inside out. There is a saying that we always create our world from inside out. So whatever you wish to manifest in the outside world can be considered as the masculine, right? The inner world is considered to be the feminine. So whatever we create in the outside world, by taking our action, we begin it in our inside world by using our creativity, our intuition, our emotion. And then, of course, there will be the masculine, consciousness and rationality also. So bringing together the feminine power. So what is the biggest feminine power that you have as a human being? It doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. All of us have our feminine side, our masculine side, our Shiv and Shakti essence. So what if you bring some of your greatest feminine powers? You know the story of goddess Kali, when all the gods are always fighting so many demons, right? Because that's what gods do. They protect, they are fighting the demons, but there is one particular demon that none of the gods can destroy. And Shiv is so comfortable. Shiv is so comfortable in his masculine essence, in his masculine power, that he says, you know what? This particular demon, he cannot be destroyed by my power. There are many other demons that I can destroy, but there are some demons, especially this particular demon, will require the power of my feminine, my Shakti, Durga, and Kali. And Kali destroys Rakta Bij. We all know that. So the feminine side within us has her own superpowers. The masculine side within us has his own superpowers. So what if we peel off all the layers of programming? What if we peel off all the layers of our shadows and then bring all the light qualities of the masculine, light qualities of the feminine together? You will become unstoppable force of nature. You'll be stronger in your intuition. You will be more in your own power. You will be more authentic. You will be more creative. You will be more at peace with who you are and with your environment, accepting things exactly the way they are. There is a saying that if you want to transform something, first you have to accept it, right? So there will be the acceptance, the feminine side, and then we will use our masculine force to transform it. So you will see big, huge transformation. Sometimes people, men are crying in my retreats and workshops. There is such deep transformation in them. It is so beautiful to see. And then they come into such pure, childlike joy at the end because they are so open, feeling so liberated, free. You know, our culture, our patriarchal programming all puts us in prisons, you know. Why do so many people run after Osho? I'm like not saying that you should believe him or not believe him. He has his pros and cons like any other teacher. But why so many people are drawn towards him is primarily because he was talking about liberation. And we all know that our soul is hungry for liberation. But we are all programmed to believe that liberation is somewhere out there in the future. But what if William Blake, the great poet, said that you can experience eternity in every little grain of sand? So if you become completely present in this moment, if you can become completely whole within yourself, accepting every aspect of yourself, reclaiming every aspect of yourself and come in your wholeness, you can experience eternity in this moment. In so many moments, you can experience eternity. And in this moment of eternity, you are so creative. You can see so many possibilities. When you had your blinders on, you could only see this much of the reality. Blinders are off. Now you can see so many possibilities. So imagine if you are an entrepreneur, if you are an employee in some company, and you could activate all these aspects of yourself, your intuition, your liberation, your healthy relationship with yourself, with your family members, with your employees, with your colleagues. If you are activating this side of yourself that can see so many possibilities, there can be no limits to your potential for success. And aren't we taking this human body for that, to experience that limitlessness of the infinite source, of the divine, whatever you want to call it? Some people like to call it God or goddess. I would just say, if you are resistant to any of those words, just call it the infinite possibilities, realm of infinite possibilities, the infinite source, the universe. You will be aligned with that. When you are aligned with your own soul, with your own truth, with your own power, You'll be aligned. You'll become aligned with that infinite source. So you will become partners, co-creators. You will take one step, universe will take one step, right? You will do your karma, and then universe will open multiple doors for you. So that can be the possibility from these workshops. When you have the union of the soul and the spirit.
See, if you look at into the particular places in Bangalore, what happens is that the you know, there are many sexual therapists and you know, sexologists and all those people are coming up because the stress which the corporate sector is actually feeling, the people are not able to have the healthier relationship with each other also. So, would you like to say that that also will be, I mean, the sexual attraction and the things like that will improve with this workshop, which you're
absolutely, and most certainly. What is the sexual chakra? Is the second chakra. So the second chakra is where the shadow resides. And in the beginning, I said about shadow work. Shadow work is one of the most important part of any self-growth journey, any spiritual journey. So shadow is sitting at the same place where the sexual chakra and the first chakra is. Now, if you are full of shadows, now I can say what is at the root of all the shadows is, why am I hiding things underneath the carpet, building up the bigger and bigger and bigger shadows? Why? Why am I hiding things? What is the feeling that I'm feeling that I feel like hiding myself in? What would be the word? Shame. I'm hiding myself with shame, right? Yeah. So at the root, if I tell my students very often, if there is a tree, if the shadow is the tree, the roots that are going the deepest, the tips of the roots, the beginning of shadow is shame. Your culture tells you, hide your body. You should be ashamed of yourself. Don't touch yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself. Bad boy, bad girl, dirty boy. You're touching yourself. You're roaming around naked. Shame, shame. Yeah. In India, what do we do? What do we tell a child? Shame, shame, puppy, shame. Do you know what the hell you are doing to your child? You're programming your child to live an entire life of shame. And then that shame, like I said, if you are hiding things, if you are, the wounded child is crying, screaming, crying, and you ignore the child, you ignore the shame, what will happen? The child will scream even louder to get your attention. So the shame is going to get louder to get your attention. What will happen? Breakup after breakup, relationship will not work out. You will not know how to, be even sexual with your partner. Why? Because you're not feeling free from inside. You're feeling ashamed of your body. What is the most natural thing on the planet? Dogs can do it on the streets. Animals can do it. They don't have shame. They are not being judged. They are not judging themselves. So it's very important to understand that when you are liberating yourself from shame, you are going to transform your romantic, your sexual relationship. Even that can hit the roots. Yes, absolutely. Have you heard about makeup sex?
No.
People say that makeup sex is great. So whenever a couple has a fight, what do? When they are fighting, all their dark shadows are coming out. You are like this, you are like that. They are fighting with each other. They're getting angry. They are getting the truth, the dark truth out. And do you know what happens after the dark truth is out? Very often the couple feels closer to each other. The previous night, they wanted to kill each other. And tonight, they had the best sex of their life. And they are feeling closer to each other. Why is that? Because They showed their wholeness to each other. That dark side that they had hidden from the world out of shame, they shamelessly pulled it out and showed here's my animal side. Here's my inner lioness that wants to just attack you, expressing the anger, expressing the truth. They peeled off these layers in the workshop. This is what happens in the workshop. You're peeling off the layers of shame and guilt and all these dark things that you have put in your own self because the culture was judging you, because you felt that the world was judging you. And then what happens? You start judging your own self. Because who created you? They created me. They programmed me. So their voice has come inside of me. So the spiritual journey is about peeling off all the untruth, all the voices of other people out. And then what remains is me, is the real me. It's not what my mommy told me, this is good, this is bad. My daddy told me, no. Thank you for raising me with so much love and so much care and teaching me to the best of your ability. But now I have to release some of the unhealthy things. We do something called cord cutting. Cord cutting it is called. So we are cutting off the unhealthy cords that might be there between you and your loved ones. And when you release other people's unhealthy cords from you, what remains is love. Then your love towards your parents can go even deeper because you have removed the unhealthy programming, unhealthy cords from your life. Then you realize, I'm an adult now. I'm fully, completely, radically responsible for myself, for my own thoughts, for my own beliefs, for my own feelings, for my own judgments. Am I judgmental about myself, about my body, about my sexual life, about my partner? So yes, sexual life definitely enhances if you do this, if you do also Tantra work, very important for our current world. It's so interesting that Tantra comes from India, and yet it is most judged in India. Sexuality is most judged in India, where Kama Sutra comes from. It's ridiculous. The whole world is now getting Tantra to have healthier sexual life, to have a deeper connection with the universe, with the cosmos, with the divine, with their own self. So if you really truly understand Tantra, you will realize that it is just about union. Tantra is about union. Union with what? Union between your own inner masculine and feminine, union with all the rejected parts of yourself, union with the whole universe, union with your partner externally. Yes.
So
but there's different forms of Tantra.
So we have spoken about how your workshops will be help the people who are into business sector, like corporate, like they are doing the business. So how about the general people? Like how does it help the general people? Whether it is affordable for them, like how can they attend the workshop? How does it help?
Yeah. So I've had many people that come from so-called general population that you're talking about. I had one woman who was raised in a very, very traditional life in Varanasi. She had an arranged marriage at 22. There was a sexually her life, like her sex life was not very good with her partner. She was full of traumas, depression, anxiety, PTSD, all those things. Okay. She came to my work. She first came to my Shakti Fest. She attended 2 workshops by me in Shakti Fest in Goa. And then she loved it so much that she came for my workshop to train the trainers. She wanted to lead her own events and workshops as well. She was a trained yoga teacher. But she was so full of traumas, and because of all that, she was highly depressed and she couldn't do anything with her life. And today, believe it or not, that woman has written a book. I have not yet written a book, even though there are hundreds of books sitting here, which are going to come out very soon. But she wrote a book rooted in consciousness. and she is living much happier life. Her relationship with her partner has changed. She's super in her power. She has started teaching yoga. She has healed from her depression. And I don't know what more can I say. I'm just so proud of her. So this is one example. And example of some other, maybe, okay. There was one woman who was suffering from depression since 25 years. 25 years. She had been through a rehab center in America. She was an American woman, 25 years of depression. She had been to a rehab center for 1 month in America, which charged 40,000 US dollars, which obviously her insurance company must have paid 40,000 US dollars, which is like 35 lakh rupees for 1 month. No change at all, not even 1%. Okay. She came to my 2 weeks training the trainer's course. Yes, I took the risk of taking her. I looked into her eyes. I saw the potential of her soul, very powerful soul. And she also had severe anxiety and panic disorder. She came to my workshop. She blew away the minds of every woman in the workshop. She expressed the most beautiful, powerful aspects of her soul. And she told me, she called her parents and she gave them the good news that every single day she was telling them how she was feeling so much better. So much better. Right now, she's not doing that great because she's not keeping up with the work. She saw huge difference in herself, but see, 25 years of, losing yourself and then doing 2 weeks of work, only 2 weeks of work to reclaim yourself is not enough. You have to continue with the practices. So what I recommend to people like that is to continue with coaching with me if you are suffering from something that intense and deep. So like I said, I have helped people from, achieving high levels of productivity in their work to claiming their own power and their voice. Like for a woman who had one of the women that attended my workshop had lost her voice. She spoke in like 30% volume that we normal humans speak. So it was hard to hear her. You literally had to put your ear close to her, super close to her to be able to hear what she said. She was just 18. Normally in my training the trainers course, I have people that are like, more mature, like 30s and 40s. But she seemed like such a mature soul. So I said yes to her. She was from UK, British woman. She had been through years of psychotherapy. Even the woman from America who was suffering from depression since 25 years, she had been through psychotherapy for almost 20 years. No change. Here, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Big change. So this woman from Britain, she had been through some severe trauma in her childhood when she was 3 years old. So one day of shadow work during our 2 weeks training, we have one day full of shadow work. And we did Goddess Kali practice to claim your voice, to claim your power. And after the whole day of practices, believe it or not, the next day, 50% of her voice came back. And she wrote a big testimonial of gratitude to me. And I'm just like, for me, the biggest gift is not so much the money. Money is not my primary focus. It is secondary. The primary focus is if I can transform people's lives, then I feel like my biggest purpose has been served. So I was telling you that I have the full spectrum, help people from becoming more productive, becoming more successful, to be maybe healing from depression or coming into their power as maybe a housewife who has lost her voice and her power. I've helped those women as well. So yes, it can bring, if you do the root work of bringing the shadow and the light together, the masculine and the feminine, the yin and the yang together, you can have, like I said, limitless transformation in your life. Whether you are a corporate employee, whether you are a housewife, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you are a woman who wants to lead her own retreats and workshops, each and every person is going to see big, huge transformation in their life.
So, where do people can connect with you? Where can they see the testimonials and how people can connect with you?
Okay, on Facebook and Instagram, I go by Archana Sufiana, Archana space Sufiana, or Feminine Soul Awakening. Feminine Soul Awakening. And since I'm, getting more into the masculine and feminine work together, you will soon see my new pages titled Soul and Spirit Awakening. So I hope to see you all there.
So if people are listening, if somebody is, the people who are listening to this particular podcast, what would you like to say to them? Like,
Yes. First and foremost, become aware. Become aware. Is this really my voice? Or is this somebody else's voice? Because very often we think that these are my thoughts, these are my choices, these are my beliefs, but they are not. They have been programmed into you. So that awareness is very important. Spend at least 5 minutes in silence every day to get in touch with your inner world. Go outside in the nature, because we human beings have lost connection with our true nature, with our true essential nature. So go in nature, sit under the root of a tree, sit by a lake, river, forest, whatever you can find, listen to the birds chirping, come into silence, take some deep breaths. One of the best practices and simplest practices is inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, at least double amount. Like if you inhaled for 8 seconds, exhale for 16 seconds. If you can do longer, even better, right? So what are we trying to do? We are trying to bring the balance between the doing and the being, masculine and the feminine. Now, if our masculine side is very heavy in our current world, the doing, the inhalation, so we have to make the feminine side, the being side, the exhalation longer. And when you exhale, just let's try it right now. As you are listening to this video, listening to this podcast, just right now, only 3 times. And I bet you will feel a sudden shift in yourself. You can notice if you are getting angry, your breath changes. You are breathing very fast, or sometimes breathing very shallow. Sometimes you are afraid, you stop breathing, right? So your emotions are affecting your breath. And so your breath can also affect your emotions and how you feel. So let's connect with our breath right now. Come into silence. You can keep the simple Jnana Mudra, index and the thumb together, index finger and the thumb together. Close your eyes and then take one deep in breath through the nose. Exhale slowly through the mouth. Make like purse your lips as if you are about to blow off a candle. And you can even make the sound of the ocean if you feel like. Deep inhalation through the nose. Exhaling long through your mouth, pursing the lips. And as you are exhaling, tell yourself, move your body a little bit, 1 inch back, and tell yourself, I'm pulling away from the world, going into myself. Deep in breath through the nose. Last time. Long exhalation through the mouth, pursing the lips. I'm pulling away into my beingness, into my nothingness. Then bring your attention in your third eye. And See the sense of peace and silence you're already feeling. 3 breaths, 3 minutes is all it took. So can you imagine if you laid down in the bed and did this for 10 minutes? If you can find out through YouTube videos or through my workshops or any other workshops, shadow work, how to do shadow work. If you can do that, your life will never be the same again, I assure you. So yes, I will leave you with these 3 things.
Thank you for listening to my podcast. You could connect with me in arunsyoga.in, where you could see my contact details, including my phone number, my WhatsApp, and email ID. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes.